People decide whether to respect you almost instantly. It's not fair and it's really not a deep assessment, but most of the time they've already made up their mind before you even say a word. But you can actually use that to your advantage. Respect isn't something you slowly build, at least not at first. It's something you signal. And this video isn't about becoming more alpha or dominating a room. Nobody's asking you to be Andrew Tate. It's about something quieter, something a lot more subtle. Something that gets people to instinctively respect you without ever having to demand it. Now let's talk about how to do that. There's a concept called thin slicing. So researchers found that people can form surprisingly accurate impressions of someone within just a few seconds. And it's just by watching nothing but a silent clip of them. No words, just body language. Think about that for a second. Before you even introduce yourself, people are already making a call on who you are. That's why posture, eye contact, and stillness matter a lot more than you probably think. It's not about puffing your chest out or looking angry. Again, it's no one's asking you to be a Tate brother. It's about being composed, not fidgeting, not rushing, and not needing anything from the room. People are drawn to the energy of someone who seems sure of themselves. Not because they said anything, but just because of how they exist in a space. Some may say their aura. That's the first layer of respect, and it happens fast, and it happens silently. The second layer of respect is how you speak, and sometimes people actually talk too much. Confident people don't rush to fill silence. They let their words breathe. They give you time to process, and that makes people lean in. Do you ever notice how people in positions of power kind of speak slower? They pause more. They don't raise their voice unless they want to, or unless to prove a point. It's pretty much because they've trained themselves to speak from a place of control and not emotion. So if you think about it, if you've ever heard an interview of Elon Musk, he sounds really different if you hear an interview of Steve Jobs. Elon Musk stutters a lot, backtracks his sentences, and you can tell that he's more of a normal speaker. Maybe he doesn't get nervous, but he's a normal speaker. Versus Steve Jobs, who's one of the greatest speakers you can ever listen to. His aura is always off the charts. He pauses between sentences, talks slow, and he makes you want to hear more. This might sound backwards, but if you want people to respect you, stop trying so hard to be liked. When someone's overly agreeable, constantly seeking approval, or even trying to win everyone over, people really don't admire that. They might tolerate it, but it doesn't bring you respect. This is actually a concept, and it basically says that people are more respected and liked when they're competent and human. And that just means a little bit of imperfection makes you relatable, but too much people-pleasing just screams insecurity. You don't have to be rude and you don't have to act cold, but there's a huge difference between being kind and being hungry for approval. When your actions are always bending toward what others think, people feel that. It makes them see you as someone who values being accepted more than standing firm. And real respect comes from self-respect. From showing that you know who you are and you're not desperate to prove it to anyone. It's almost like respect is contagious. If you dress with intention, carry yourself with dignity, and act with confidence, other people will subconsciously mirror that energy. This isn't about showing off or putting on a facade, it's about holding yourself to a standard. Think of it this way, when someone treats themselves like they're worth something, you don't question it. You're naturally drawn to them. The opposite happens when you don't stand up for yourself, or if you constantly seek validation from others. Some people can sense that insecurity and it gets harder for them to respect it. It's about the subtle cues, the way you hold yourself, the way you move, and the way you speak. When you set this example, others start to treat you with the same respect you give yourself. And I know I yapped a lot, but the bottom line is basically just that respect starts with you. When you show it to yourself, the world starts showing it back. So don't be afraid to love yourself. At the end of the day, respect isn't about trying to impress others or fitting into someone else's mold. It's about being real with yourself and letting that authenticity show. When you stop seeking approval, when you set boundaries, and when you respect yourself first, that's when people start respecting you in return. It's about showing up with intention and not needing to prove anything and living with integrity. You don't have to be the loudest or the most dominant person in the room. And actually, sometimes the ones who are the most respected are the ones who don't have to demand attention. They just are who they are, and that's enough. That's part of your own personal aura. So next time you walk into a room, just remember that respect starts with you. Don't chase it. Just let it come naturally as you carry yourself with dignity, confidence, and self-respect. You'll find that the less you need respect, the more you'll have it. And that's the secret. It's simple, but it's powerful.